Alrighty guys, what is up? Welcome to a new series with Lone Debater 7 called covering the game Dyson Sphere Program. If you haven't heard of Dyson Sphere Program, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a relatively new game. It's similar to Factorio in the sense that you have to build a factory to construct various things, gather resources, all that kind of stuff. But it is a little bit different as far as how the gameplay actually feels and stuff like that. Basically, you are a mech that goes onto a planet, builds a factory, researches technologies, blah blah blah, with the ultimate goal of building a Dyson sphere around a star. So that's kind of like what the end game looks like. You build one of these big ass Dyson spheres in orbit around a star, and that's how you win, I believe. Now, it is an early access game, so bits and bobs are still being added in. There's not too much though. It still feels like a very complete game in its nature, but I thought, what the heck, let's go ahead and make some tutorials about Dyson Sphere Program. It only came out like maybe a week ago at this point, if that. So still pretty new. The soundtrack's pretty good, gameplay feels good, but if you enjoy games that are factory building, logistics management, that kind of stuff, similar to Factorio or Satisfactory or what have you, then Dyson Sphere Program will probably be a good experience for you. This game adds like a solar system type thing to it, so let's just dive in. New game, let's start a new game. So we're gonna random do this a couple times. Each random regenerates how many stars you have. There's different star types. The different star types will have different types of planets around them, and the different planet types will have different resources available. So we've got all of our stars, that's cool. If you keep hitting random, you can get them all pretty well connected, the couple off, so it does depend a little bit. And also when you hit random, it changes what the starter planet is going to be called. But this one actually looks pretty good. So there's a lone star out here, and then there's a lone like cluster over here, but we have white dwarf, neutron star, and a black hole all pretty close by, and we've got all star types inside of this initial cluster, so this should be pretty good. We're going to take our resource multiplier up to 2 times, I believe, just so we progress a little bit faster than default. And actually, you know what, we'll go to 3 times just so we can get through the series a little bit quicker, so I have more content to show you because we'll be able to progress a little bit faster. If you want to play through the same galaxy, set your number of stars to 64. You can decrease this if you want a harder play through. Use this cluster seed, just copy and paste this cluster seed in on your game, and you will get the same layout as us, and then you can pick your resource multiplier and do what you want. Once you get all your galaxy stuff configured, you hit start game. It'll load you in. The graphics are actually pretty good, especially for it being such an early access game. But take a look at this. So you fly through space in your little shippy boy. You get introduced to the like tutorial system.
It's different from our homeland,
which is the dude in the upper corner.
In a short time.
Fly
I am
in.
your advisor, and will help
cool.
you through this mission.
So, as you can see, the graphics for this game are actually pretty decent, in my opinion. I don't know. If you like space stuff, and you kind of like futuristic type games that also have factories,
As one of
this game kind of satisfies both of those, which is great. Anyway, so you fly in, they'll start you off on just like a basic tropical planet, not a big deal. At this point, it doesn't, like, I played a little bit outside of just this series, like I live streamed for a little bit yesterday, and also played a little bit in between sessions, more or less, just to kind of see how the game progresses. And it doesn't appear that going to other planet, so like this planet has water on it, it's tropical, I think is the weather type, like there's different weather types. Well, I've flown to a lava planet in my other game, and it doesn't appear that the weather type really does anything to you, so yeah, not a big deal. The only difference is that as opposed to water-based liquids,
now you are about
you
to
have
reach
like
the designated
lava
planet
on the planet instead. Otherwise the mechanics are the same, but they do have different resources, so bear that in mind. Like if you're looking for a specific resource, you may not have it on the planet you're currently on. So you might have to go to another planet to actually gather what you need to progress. So you land in on your first planet, pretty basic. All the games start this way. You may not have resources laid out exactly how I have, but what you're going to want to do is find a source of copper, a source of coal, and a source of iron. So the only thing we're really missing over here is the iron, which that is stone.
You will manipulate Icarus to travel beyond the stars and create miracles.
Well, this might not be a good spot after all.
You can use the same operation.
So if you hit the M key, you can go out to this zoom
gravel,
view.
etc.
So this is coal.
In the meantime,
that's a little
hold
bit
down
iron.
Shift and right click.
What you're looking for is stone, coal, iron, and copper, all close by.
You receive several items after recycling the space capsule. Click the inventory button.
Man, the resources on this planet
to open the cabinet
on this planet are not that great. I think you can.
Mode, you can hold
you
down
have to
the
research
middle mouse
something.
Button, drag.
Okay.
Rotate the angle of view, and hold down the right mouse button. Drag to roll the angle of view. Press N key to point to the front to the North Pole.
Stone. So this is some
iron. You can hold down
iron.
mouse middle button drag to rotate the angle of view, or slide
Iron,
the mouse
copper,
to
stone.
zoom in and out.
There's a little bit of coal over there, and there's
in
oil.
the planet view mode, slide
So
the
this
mouse
is probably
to enter
where we
the
want to
star
be.
map mode.
Oh, yeah. So in addition to this mode, if you scroll out, you can see the planetary system. Scroll out even farther, you can see the star system around you. And ultimately, you'll be able to fly between all of them, not a big deal. I'm looking on the map right now, so it's not too big of a deal for me. But if you are actually walking around doing stuff, be aware of this core energy bar down here. It will deplete as you move and perform functions and activities and stuff like that. So you don't want this to run out, or else you go really slow and it'll start doing damage to you. So bear that in mind. Pay attention to your core energy. But I want to relocate down to here. So let's just see. So from here, we got to go all the way this way, right? So there's copper.
Yet you have not unlocked the construction menu, which will be done automatically when complete any technology research. Click the technology.
So we basically have to
right
go
to open the technology tree
this
and
way.
Activate a research.
So we're gonna go this way. Not a big deal. Like, the only concerning thing is we don't have a lot of power. But if we're not doing anything, it's not too critical to have a bunch of power. And you can also pick it up as you go. So like, if we chain command harvest some of these trees, we'll have a little bit of fuel that we can take with us as we progress down to that iron, copper, and coal. It also pops these little tutorials over here. You can access them again by hitting G, and you can take a look and see what you were taught at whatever point in the game if you skipped over it. So that is useful, you know, all things considered. To refuel this, you hit the C key, or you can click the mecha panel button. And if you throw in plant fuel and logs, that will give us a little bit of power, so it converts it into how much will be generated, 124 megajoules. We can hold a total of 90, so we have a little bit more than a full battery worth of power at the moment, which isn't bad. I mean, I can deal with that. So let's see, I think we are getting... So we need to go north. Yeah, we need to go this way. So, using the map and like movement and all that kind of stuff, pretty basic. WASD walks you around. You're the bumblebee looking mech dude down here. Pretty cool, honestly. Like, I like how this game is designed as far as that's concerned. And we haven't even really gotten into gameplay yet. Like, this is just, you know, moving around, exploring type stuff. We've covered kind of the base mechanic of utilizing the mech, so you have power that you have to monitor. You can fuel yourself, that kind of thing. There is, like, inventory is the E key. You can see what's inside your inventory. You harvest and interact with things on the map by hitting right click. If you want to chain command, so like, for example, if you just right click, it'll just harvest that one. If you shift right click, you can, you know, tell it to harvest from like 5 or 6 different things. So we're just going to grab some logs because we're going to have to do some crafting and building. So I'm going to want to have a supply of fuel to kind of get us through that initial setup phase. So there's iron here, there's also copper here. Those are the two primary resources you're going to use to build stuff. There's also oil here, which becomes a little bit more relevant when you get to the like second technology stage of the game type of a thing. So you want to have a source of oil readily like close to where your iron and copper are. There's also coal pretty close by, so like we've got basically a good mix of resources. There's stone up here, so we've got all the resources in one spot. So this is kind of what I look for anyway when I first start out. It's worth relocating. Yes, you can kind of make do with whatever's around you, but I find it's worth waiting until you get to this type of a setup to build your first few structures, because it's just going to make it easier to expand later. So there we go. We got that. We got a little bit of stone. So let's go into the replicator. So you can click on the wheels down here. Will also allow you to access this. So you can access your inventory, replicator, mecha panel, all right here. And then there's statistics. We're going to go into the replicator. We can build stuff. So there's components, which are the parts that are used to make buildings. And then you've got buildings as well. Now we are going to have to research buildings before they're available. So we start off with electromagnetism. This unlocks power. Takes 10 magnets to research. So to start off with, you can manually do research in your suit by having the items in your inventory. That's what this tick box is for. So we need 10 magnets. Let's go ahead and do 5, just like that. And that will give us all the magnets we need to make it, because 2 are made for each craft. Cool. Makes sense. So once we have power unlocked, we're going to want to go for automatic metallurgy, more magnets, and circuit boards. But there we go. We got our first research done. Wind turbines, Tesla towers, and mining machines, so we can automate gathering of resources. That's pretty good. The next research will allow us to automatically smelt it into gathered resources into base products. So
or select it on gathering of construction.
Let's take a look. I don't think we'll be able to build any of this. So we can build the circuit board. So let's go ahead and build those. And then for the magnets, we need iron and copper. So let's go ahead and get the iron set up first.
You can use the R key to rotate the mining machine for covering more veins.
So
the more veins covered, the faster the ores will be gathered.
Yeah, that's a pretty good spot.
Try holding down the shift key.
We also need to set up power. So we'll put down a wind turbine for now. And I'm going to put a Tesla tower over there, which is like the power cables. That way I can put another gatherer over on the copper. So the next thing I want to do is build another one of these. So I need a little bit of copper. So we're going to hand gather some copper.
And expand the power supply.
Produce our one, and you don't have to gather any more copper after that. By hand at least. You'll start automating it. Pick up your ore periodically. These only stack to like 5 or something like that, so it's not a lot. While we're waiting for the copper though, we can actually get this going. So well, you know what? Let's just get this set up. It won't take that long. So honestly, I want to remove that. So if you click this X button, it'll allow you to destroy buildings. Clicking on these allow you to build whatever buildings are in the categories if you've constructed them. If you don't have them built already, you can double click on the icon and it'll open up the replicator to that item so you can build it. So that's kind of how that aspect of it works, like crafting and building and stuff. Most things can be built in your suit if you have the resources required. So just bear that in mind. You can sometimes supplement production a little bit. But there's our magnets. Once those start building, it will go ahead and... Oh, is that out of range? Oh, there's just not enough power. Okay, that does make sense. So we're gonna build the 4 of these actually, because we kind of need them. I need more copper so we can build more magnets as well. Or well, this will make its own. Okay, cool. But our research will finish, then we can start automatically smelting the ore into materials. well, we need logistics as well. So if you click on this icon in the upper left, it'll open up the tech tree. You can also click the center of the wheel and it'll open the tech tree. We need basic logistics systems as well in order to get conveyor belts and sorters so we can actually move things around automatically. But let's go ahead and we're going to set up 2 furnaces. We're going to have one, and this is temporary. We're going to move these in a minute, but
such as iron ingots,
for the moment, we're going to go ahead and throw in our copper. We're going to throw in our iron, so they can go ahead and, you know, generate some extra ingots for us. So we need gears,
after selecting the recipe,
which is just iron.
You can use the less than key to copy the recipe, and the greater
10 of
than
those,
to paste the next
and
building that
then we
needs to set
also
the same
need
recipe.
10 of these. So there we go. This will build our power and our research stuff that we're going to need. So we'll have both. Perfect. We're going to ultimately move these wind turbines as well. We have to do a little bit of research to unlock the better power generation techniques. So yeah, that will be an upgrade that'll be made. Then we can move some of this stuff to access more of the resources that we have available. Let's go ahead and grab out these. Because basically what the next step is, so we're gathering iron, we're gathering copper. We should get a gatherer and set it up to... We'll make 10 of these Tesla towers just because we're going to want them to connect power. We'll use them. Trust me, you will always use your Tesla towers, no matter how many you build. So we'll go over and set up on this coal as well. And now you might be thinking we're not really using coal for anything. Well, what you can use coal for is to power your mech. So yes, you have to spend power and all that stuff to do this, but having a good coal setup early on does help you sustain and do more things ultimately.
You have received the sorter and the conveyor belt, which can achieve full automation now. Use the conveyor belt to transport the ores from the mining machine.
We'll
and
produce
the
2 more
deliver
windmills
the ores
as well.
From the conveyor belt to the smelter for automatic smelting.
So this is almost built. Okay, cool. We'll just wait for these and put up the power here. So we get coal. And then I think we'll probably call the episode here. So this is kind of step 1. Get your gatherers all set up first, because it is nice being able to come over here, pick up 100 coal, drop it in your fuel chamber, and then go about your way, as opposed to having to mine out the trees and stuff, because you don't actually need to remove these. If the trees or a rock or whatever is in the way of a building, your drones will destroy the rock or what have you automatically when they place the building. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so now we've got coal being made. We can pick up a little bit, and if you go into your mecha panel, you throw in your coal, there we go. Now we've got a little bit more sustainable power. It's not renewable, but it's sustainable, meaning we're not going to have to go chop trees in order to keep doing stuff, which is nice. Good quality of life. So we'll pick those up. We do have storage available, so actually, let's just show this off now. So we're going to build a storage center for our coal, because it will fill up this buffer, which I believe is 100 for the mining machines or whatever. But anyway, so you can build a storage, which is basically like a box, you know,
which can be used
it's a chest, box, whatever you want to call it.
You can manually store,
you use conveyor
or use
belts
the
to move
sorter to
items, so
stop the
there we
cargo.
go. And you take a sorter
When putting
to
a
move
conveyor belt, all you need to
items
do is determine
from a
the
conveyor
sorter
belt
and
into a
the
box.
input.
So
In addition,
doing this,
use the
gatherers
up
just
arrow key
connect
to
via
move up.
conveyor belt, so it's
Use the
pretty
down
easy.
arrow
You
key to drop down
click on the
after
machine.
the conveyor belt is lifted. Press
So
keypad 0
you
to
select your
reset
conveyor,
the
click the
construction
machine,
line.
and then you drag out the belt in whatever
If you don't
direction you
want
want
the
to
conveyor
go.
belt to be
It'll
attached
snap to the grid and kind of
You
do
can
that
try
kind of
holding
stuff.
down the shift key.
Then you put a sorter to connect the
The
belt
sorter is a
to
transportation connector with cargo
you know, a
between
storage
facilities.
or a
It will
furnace or
automatically
whatever
transport
it is you're
as
trying
long
to
as the
connect
supply
to.
facility and the receiving
But
facility
not a big
are
deal. So
bridged.
that's kind of how you automate stuff. At this point, we have fuel automated, which feels pretty good. I do ultimately want to connect these power grids, because we are gonna end up So we're going to end up building coal-based power ultimately. Like, that's kind of the mid-stage. Like, there is nuclear power and stuff like that you can do late game. But until you get to there, these wind turbines are not all that efficient. They only generate about, 300 kilowatts if they're going optimally. That's not a lot. Whereas like a thermal plant, which is the next tier up, will generate more like 3 megajoules. Or 3 megawatts instead. So we'll cover that in the next episode most likely. We're going to be playing through, showing off how to get to the end game and all that kind of noise, and kind of how to lay out your factory, that bullshit. So if you're looking for a Dyson Sphere Program tutorial series, this is the one. Like, you've made it to the right place. We've got our mech, we've got our iron and copper, and we've got our fuel all automated. So next time, when we're gonna go ahead and automate iron and copper smelting, and then we'll kind of dive into some of the other automation stuff you can do. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe as always, and until next time, this has been Lone Debater 7, and we will see ya.